something can happen, a fatal accident can happen, and we can be taken out of the game of life. What's the lesson? To get the most out of every single day, to connect to the now, because that's all we ever have to live.
Welcome to the Regenerative Warrior Podcast, Doctor's Edition. One of the fastest growing regenerative medicine and anti-aging podcasts in the world. Each and every Tuesday and Thursday, I talk to the top experts to show doctors how to market, manage, and magnify their practice to help more people and make more money. Each episode is short and to the point without wasting your time with pointless conversation. Learn the skills to be successful without traveling to seminars or paying for expensive consulting fees. Are you ready? Because I am. I'm Dr. Ross Carter, and it's time to start the Regenerative Warrior Podcast now. Two things before we get started. The views expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of Dr. Carter or this podcast. One of our podcast partners has just announced special pricing for our listeners. Wharton's Jelly Allograft for $475 per cc. You heard that right, only $475. White papers are available. This is for a limited time, so act now. Why pay double or triple the price from other providers? To learn more or to order, text your name and the word JELLY, Jelly, to 561-962-1231. Write that down. It's 561-962-1231. On with the show. Welcome to the Regenerative Warrior Podcast. My name is Dr. Ross Carter. Today, our special guest is Skip Archimedes. Welcome.
Great to be here, my friend.
Thank you for joining us. Now, you are not local. You are not in the United States right now, I guess. Where are you at right now?
Well, I'm from England, but at the moment, I don't know if you can see this. I'm in this amazing place in New Zealand. We are overlooking the ocean. So we've just got back from touring Asia. So we was out in Singapore, we was out in Malaysia, and we heard that there was going to be 41 centimeters of snow on the mountains in New Zealand. So we're just waiting for that downpour, and then we're going to be on the mountains.
That's beautiful. So tell us a little bit about you. What is it that you do exactly?
Well, I help people through my own experiences. I truly believe that when we get challenged in life, it's not life beating us up. It's life serving us so that we get to not have these breakdowns, but have these breakthroughs so that we can reach a high level of consciousness. We can find more strength. We can find more balance. We can find more of the intelligence, of the wisdom, of the magnificence that we have within ourselves as a human being when we plug in. And most people in today's world, they're out of balance. And as I just said to you, it's like popping out the mama's womb and, no one teaches a baby to walk. No one says, right, here's a manual. The baby figures it out, and we all figured it out. We saw all these grown-ups walking around and we're like, that's kind of cool. Let's copy that. And we stand up and we fall down, and we stand up and we fall down. And as the baby falls down, I've never heard one baby complain. I can't walk. Oh, this sucks. But what happens in life is we forget what we are, and when we fail or when we fall down, a lot of people go into a victim mentality. So I've fallen down a lot in life. I mean, some of the greatest blessings I've had is like when I was a gymnast, I had an accident in the gym. We swing around a high bar. Wanted to be the first one to do the triple back dismount off the high bar in the UK. Wow. And let go of the bar a millisecond too late and came up and landed straight on the bar and was diagnosed with a broken back and got told that I'd never walk again. Now, I went through a whole episode of hitting hardcore depression, darkness, didn't want to speak to people, didn't want to connect with people, didn't want to connect with life. And what I learned is that life always has a bigger vision for us. And just by the way that life unfolded, kind of long story short, but I found out that Bruce Lee had broken his back. He was in traction. He got told he was never going to walk again. Right. And he came back fitter and stronger than ever. So what that opened me up was to study Bruce Lee's philosophy. And it really was the study of the power of the mind, the body, and the spirit. And we're all three. So as I said, like this baby, no baby decides that I'm not going to walk on two legs. I'm going to try and hop my way through life. Well, this is like what most adults are doing now. They're trying to hop their way through life when they've been given a body, mind, and a spirit, because most adults are not in their body anymore. They're stuck in their minds and the mind can be the prison for them. And when you connect to spirit, when you get in your body and you move your body in some ways, which is so natural, these endorphins get released from the mind, sends a chemical throughout the whole body, and we naturally feel good when it's fun exercise.
Right.
But you ask most kids why they're exercising, and they look at you like you're stupid because it's fun. And then you ask most adults who needs to be motivated to go and exercise, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm one of them people. And because they're stuck in their heads and they're not connecting funness to their movement, it becomes something, oh, God, I've got to go and do this now. I've got to go and lose weight. I've been told I've got to get stronger. And they go into it like it's a chore instead of it being a gift. Now, the spiritual aspect of who we are, when you can open up to that, what you're opening up to is the energy that literally creates worlds in our universe. I mean, I always love to be in nature. I'm a fast-paced guy. I run these events all over the world. And when we're done with the event, I have to go and reconnect with nature, because there's a force, there's an intelligence, there's a matrix to this whole game of life. And if we don't get into the matrix of universal intelligence, we can get stuck in the matrix of the city life, of the corporate world. And yes, we want to thrive in that world, but you want the intelligence that breathes through us, that is the same intelligence that makes the seasons change, that makes the trees grow, that makes the wind blow. It's that intelligence that you want, that breathing through you into your game of life. And then what happens is immediately your mind starts to change. Immediately your body starts to change. Immediately your relationships start to change. Immediately your business starts to change. Everything you get connected to starts to change, because now it has a different type of energy coursing through it. So that's kind of what I do. I plug people into that.
That's amazing. I love that. It's very inspiring. So what do you think the secret is for people to feel alive again? I mean, what is it that they're missing that really will make the difference in their life?
What I say, everyone in today's world, they're looking for the hack. They're looking for these fast, and I had this, we literally went to just in Malaysia, and I had this very successful business guy, came to the event, very well known in the area. And he's like, right, Skip, I'm so glad. And, he took me out for a meal. And this, I always, when people take me out for a meal, I know they're going to start to extract stuff. Yeah. And I said, right, what do you want?
What do you want?
Goes, right,
what's your coaching session?
He goes, just give me 3 hacks. I went, hacks on what? He goes, hacks on health, hacks on my body, and hacks on energy. I said, dude, I can give you 3 hacks, but you want the results. He goes, well, will I not get that from the hacks? I said, no. I said, this is the gimmick stuff. Everyone's looking for this instant success.
Right.
They're looking for instant feel good. They're looking for this instant dopamine hit. And this is like where social media, you see people addicted to social media now because they get these dopamine hits. And when they get these dopamine hits, guess what? You've just created another addiction.
Yes.
And whereas what we need is we need to be able to create rituals. And I'm talking like daily rituals that no matter, like for me, every single month I'm in a different time zone now. And I'm now working in 3 different time zones. Like I've got a house in London. I live mostly on the beach out in Mermaid Beach on the Gold Coast in Australia. And we do the events in Asia as well. So I'm on European time zone, Asia time zone, and Australia time zone. And I'm constantly traveling around in and out of these different time zones. Now, everybody says to me, Skip, how the hell do you do that? And you just don't break down. You're just thriving all the time. And it's the investments that I make in myself on a daily basis, because nothing is more important than us. I mean, I've just written a book that's now become an international best-selling book called Living Forever Young. And this is the lifestyle that I teach people, that you can live forever young by making little investments in yourself every single day. And the investments will be along the lines of making sure that the nutrition that you're putting in your body isn't draining your body of energy at any level. And this is a minefield out there with processed foods,
right,
with certain food groups that we're now being told we should be eating because they're good gimmicks, they're good fads, they're good yo-yo diets. They can be seen to get good results on the outside, but inside people are all messed up. So what we have to do is we've got to make sure that what we're consuming is at least feeding the body with good live energy. And for that, you need live enzymes. You need live nutrients. It needs to have had the sun shining on it. It needs to have weathered different seasons. It needs to have been connected to the planet at some level so that the planet can feed it energy as well. In those moments when food is growing through that type of process and then we go and eat it, we're not just eating food, we're eating intelligence. And we start to take that intelligence into us instead of something that might be creating acid or draining the body of energy. Because if there's something that you're eating or drinking that's creating acid in the body, at some level the body's going to break down. So that's the food. We then got to make sure that we're moving the body consistently. Like for me, I woke up 6:45 here. So immediately, before I've even started eating, before I've checked an email, before I've gone to my phone, first thing I'm doing is I'm doing breathing and yoga. And now that may change. That exercise may change. So, depending on where I am, I might get up and go for a swim. Depending on where I am, I might go and do a workout in the gym. But I'll do something because the body's always stiff due to non-movement. So we've got to move the body. The body was created to move. So you look at kids, what do they do naturally when they wake up? They wake up and they start bouncing on their bed. No one inspired them to do that. No one told them, right, kids, when you get up, you start jumping on your... in fact, your parents are doing the opposite. Will you stop jumping on your bed? And they drain that spirit out the kid.
Yeah.
So then we've got to make sure that through our human eyes, because we can get trapped in our own stories so easy in this game of life. So we've got to make sure that what we're seeing, we start to see, and this is going to sound weird for some people, and it sounded weird to me when I first heard it, but
right.
Only when you practice it can you get it. You got to see the beauty in everything, because otherwise, if you don't, this judgment mechanism is going to start to get going in the mind, and then what happens is when we look in a mirror, guess what? This judgment mechanism is going, and then we judge ourselves, and we can become our own worst enemy. Whereas if we stop that judgment and we can start to see the beauty in everything, and we can start to see that there's a reason for everything, because life on planet Earth is a life of contrast. There's never going to be peace on Earth 24/7. That's not how the game of life was set up. What we've got to learn how to do is weather the storms. And that's why, like, when it snows, some people go, oh my God, I can't believe it's snowing, we're going to be trapped in. Whereas, people like me that have been able to wake up through the challenges, we're like, right, let's get on those mountains and get on those snowboards and just go and have some fun. Because the same happens in business. Everybody wants to be financially free, and life becomes a lot easier when we do become financially free because you've got more choices. So as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you've got to learn how to weather the different seasons, because if you don't learn how to do that, if you don't learn how to connect with people and learn how to work in teams, then all of a sudden what you can do is you can start to build this money. But what you're doing on that process is just like as a mountain gets to a peak, we start to build an island around ourselves, and we start to be around less people, and we start to lose the connection for what's real in life. And we start either making ourselves better than other people or less than other people, and either one of them is going to knock us out of balance. So, the key thing in this game of life, because we all know this stuff, is not about the destination. It's about who you get to become on the journey. And that's why I put these live events together, because when we do the events and there's total immersion, the processes that I take people through, because it's not just about me giving people more information.
Right.
Because we can go online now and we can get information about anything. And the truth is, people are just drowning themselves in information. They're like, I want information on this, I want information on that. What are you going to do with that information?
We're starving for knowledge.
Yeah, well, we're starving of wisdom.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Because, knowledge can be good. But what I truly believe is that when it's wisdom, you've learned it yourself, you've applied it, you've got the benefits from it, but then you go and share it with somebody else and you help to wake them up, then it becomes wisdom. Because now what's happening is instead of life breathing energy into you and it's stopping with you, when you're sharing it with somebody else, or you're teaching it to somebody else, or you're creating an experience where somebody else can now awaken, or they can raise their vibration, or they can let go of some resistance that they was holding on to, so they can naturally soar up to the levels where they're now in these higher states of consciousness, life will breathe through you and it will come out of you with even more power. I'll give you an example. When we're filming a movie at the moment, and we were in Malaysia, this was quite some time ago now, over a year ago, something in my gut said, and we were filming at the bottom of this waterfall, we were filming this lady, ex-Miss Malaysia, and something said, just go and climb to the top of the waterfall. Because she was talking about yoga and meditation and all this stuff. I said, guys, just get the cameras on. I want to climb to the top of the waterfall. I'll do a few yoga poses at the top there. I'll do some meditation shots, and we can use them as the B-roll shots or some of the cutaway shots, you know, when we're showing her interview in the movie. And I get near the top, and some water comes out of nowhere. I slip, fall about 50 feet down this waterfall, hit this rock at the bottom, snap my tailbone, snap this wrist, and the bone is sticking out the side of this wrist. Now, they get me to hospital. I'm in and out of consciousness, and I'm coming to, and they're literally getting ready to take me in somewhere. And I said, what the hell's going on? And they went, Skip, you fell down the waterfall. I said, yeah. I said, I know I fell down the waterfall. I feel the pain of it. And they said, look, here's your x-rays. Your tailbone has gone from a C shape to an L shape. And it's gone from being straight down the body to being knocked over to one side of the body. They need to operate. Okay. I said, hang on a minute. Now, I'm cutting a long story short here, but plugging into what we are, and we are infinite beyond most people's expectations. You know, the mind is a limitation. Your imagination can be limitless. So when you can imagine something using your third eye here, where you could go beyond the mind, and this is what Einstein said, imagination is way more powerful than just information and knowledge. Because you look at kids with imaginations, they have these big, crazy ideas for life, these big, crazy dreams. And the ones that stay true to that can actually manifest them. The challenge is, because people don't know how to create the balance, a lot of them sacrifice a part of themselves on the journey. So, cutting a long story short, following this path, you know, I couldn't walk, I couldn't stand, and I ended up being on stage 3 days later doing an event. We had 1,000 people come to this event, which I had to do the whole day. I was the only speaker. What happened through that process was something real simple. Well, first of all, I said, look, am I meant to be doing this operation? And this voice came and said, no. So I always follow my intuition, my inner guidance. Am I meant to be doing the event still in 3 days' time? And this answer, yes, came. And I'm like, okay, this is epic. I don't know how this is going to happen, but I trust in what I'm being guided with, because this is why meditation is key. Because when you can meditate and you can free the mind, what you allow yourself to do is you allow yourself to start downloading information based on the intentions that you put out there. And one of the things that I got guided to do was to ask for help. Right. And I know it sounds crazy, but I asked people to pray for me, and I did a video on it. The whole thing went viral, and we got back to we checked out of the hospital, went back to the hotel, and as we walked in the hotel, because that's where I was doing the event, you know, they saw me in this wheelchair coming through, and I'm like, oh my God, what happened? We told them what happened, and they showed me newspaper clippings of a guy, it's a Singapore man dies at waterfall in Malaysia. And a week before, a guy had died on the waterfall. Now, I thought, okay, I'm still alive. I'm still in a hell of a lot of pain. What's the lesson here? And the lesson is, none of us know when we're going to go. That's the truth. We could walk out here, you know, something could happen, a fatal accident could happen, and we could be taken out the game of life. What's the lesson? To get the most out of every single day, to connect to the now, because that's all we ever have to live. And so many of us are running a poor me story. Now, to give you an example, like of a guy who was so off track. He was off track physically. He was off track mentally. He was off track financially. He was off track in so many ways. And he came on the retreat. He was an actor, couldn't get a job anymore. His management company had hired me to coach him. And I said, look, what he needs is not me doing one-on-one coaching. I did one session with him, and I said, look, he needs to come on the retreat. We run these retreats in Spain and Thailand and Bali. And I said, look, he needs to come for 5 days total immersion. I said, because through that journey, there's 49 processes that I take people through. because I've gone through these challenges, and by the way, did the event, and what happened was, I was on stage, and because I was on stage, I asked the audience to say the same. Can you please pray for me? I told them what happened. They couldn't believe that I was on stage.
Right.
And because I gave myself to that audience, the energy that came through me to the audience, it started to heal me while I was delivering the event. It was crazy what happened. We got the bones back in alignment. We got this expert who was able to do it. And the way it healed after, it was so fast, it didn't make sense. So there are things that we can plug into that don't make sense. Like, we're connecting now on Wi-Fi. I'm in the middle of New Zealand, literally in the middle of nowhere. We're miles away from the next person. There's no one around here. We're in this gated community and there's just no one around. So how are we connecting? We're connecting with Wi-Fi. Now, with Wi-Fi, can you see it?
Well, the actual Wi-Fi? No.
No. Can you touch it?
No.
Can you smell it?
No.
Can you taste it?
No.
So what the hell is it? It's something non-visible. Right. And it's non-physical, but yet we use it every single day. And a day without Wi-Fi for the most people nowadays is hell, because they want to get connected, because it allows them to connect. Now, a day without spirit, when you awaken, is the same. You create hell on earth. And I'm not talking about spirit being something that's religious. I'm talking about something that you connect to. Just look at the childlike spirit that children have. Right. They have more energy, they have more joy, they have more laughter, they have more fun, they have more creativity, more productivity, more of all the good stuff that most adults want, in their later life.
Yeah.
So we've got to reconnect to that spirit. So on the retreat, on this 5-day retreat, there's 49 processes that I take people through that allow them to connect to the essence of who they are. And so this guy, this actor, he sat at the back and he was literally like this at the back on day one. And he was at the back with his cap down like this. And he was just like sitting there. And I walked up to him halfway through the day and I said, right, dude, I'm booking you a flight home. He said, what do you mean? I said, because I told you, if you're here, you play full out. I said, you're sitting at the back. You're not joining in. You're not connecting with it. Well, I don't want everyone to know I'm here. I said, what? Because you think you're a celebrity. You think that people really care that you're a celebrity. I said, they're all here on their own journey. I said, one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. I said, and you're not playing full out, and I'm looking at you like you're a bad apple, so I'm going to fly you home. I said, don't worry. I know you haven't got money. I know your management company had to pay for you. I know you had to borrow money off your mum to get the flight here. I will pay for your flight home. Well, no. I said, well, then you play full out. I said, it's that simple. I said, there's no negotiation here. I said, I know how to get you to where you want to go, but you're the one that has to do the work. I said, I can't do it for you. So we said, all right, I'll give it a shot. Then he just started writing and writing and writing. As we were going through these processes, as I'm giving him content for the processes, he fills up 2 manuals worth of notes. And he said, why am I writing? And I said, well, maybe you're a writer. And by the way, at the beginning of the retreat, he said, don't talk to me about acting. I don't want to act anymore. I'm done with that world. And don't talk to me about my wife, because we're done. The divorce papers have come through. I said, look, I'm not going to talk to you about anything. I said, what I will do, I will plug you into these high frequencies and you will know what's right for you. There's a knowing that comes when you're in these high states of consciousness. I said, there's no fear, there's no doubt, there's no muzziness. You have complete clarity for what your next steps are meant to be. I said, because it's all laid out for you, but you just got to plug into it. He's filling up these notes. He goes, so why am I a writer? He goes, why am I writing? I said, because you're a writer. He goes, no, I'm not a writer. I'm an actor. And I went, well, that was quick. I said, so you're an actor again now, are you? To give you what happened, and this is just like one example of there's so many people that have come and gone through this experience. He gets back. As he walks through the door, his wife was leaving with her cases and she falls to her knees and gets on the phone to me and said, I've lost my husband for the last 5 years. They've been married for nearly 20 years. And I'd lost my husband for the last 5 years and I was out of it. I couldn't help him. He spends 5 days with you and now I get my husband back. Who the hell are you? And thank you so much. So they fell back in love with each other.
That's great.
What he wrote when he was out there was a script. Now, this is on top of him doing the event. He wrote a script for a movie, £11 million landed for the investment to make that movie. He's now bought and paid for a £4 million house. He's got a fleet of cars. He's bagging the biggest jobs of his career. And 4 weeks ago, he got presented with the award Legend in Cinema at the British Independent Film Festival in London. And I didn't do anything apart from plug him in. And at the awards, he ended up saying, he goes, look, I wouldn't have this if it wasn't for that guy over there. He goes, I'd either be dead or in prison. And he goes, Skip, I think we need to share this award, mate, because, this is as much yours as it is mine. But all I'm doing is I'm plugging people in. Just like if your phone gets, if the battery's dying, what do? You plug it in. But when it dies, look how most people freak out. Oh, God, I've only got 5% battery, and then we've got to charge it, and we've got to charge, and they just start freaking out. Whereas if you learn how to plan ahead, you either have a charger with you, or you have a battery pack, or you make sure that the battery never gets past a certain level. Well, most people are living on 5% of who they are, 5% of the energy, 5% of the intelligence. They're only using 5% of their brains. And we do processes where you literally free your mind. And what happens in that moment, and this happened with this guy, a lot of people have what we call OBEs, like out of body experiences, where and this is going to sound weird with our first interview, but the spirit is the non-physical part. So it's like the Wi-Fi. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't taste it, but it's an internal part of what we are. And when that comes out, say you're lying down here, your physical body's lying down here, and that comes out and you turn over and you see yourself through the all-seeing eye of the universe, and you now realize that you're a part of something way bigger. Because what is making your heart beat every single day? You're made of about 50 trillion cells. You know this stuff, through stem cell therapy. The cells regenerate all the time. And a year from now, most of the cells in our bodies are brand new cells. So we're regenerating all the time. Right. But the challenge is most people are living a lifestyle. So what happens is as they regenerate as a lesser version of themselves. And this is where aging starts to speed up. This is where the immune system starts to lower. This is where their energy levels lower. And what happens is they get used to living life numb. They get used to living life reacting to life, because they haven't made these investments in themselves. So what we've on, the retreat through the 49 processes, it just plugs people in to the truth of who they are. And the truth is, what we do is we just get them to remember. And when they remember what they are in their adult body, it completely changes their whole journey through life. And it becomes one where we get to create heaven on earth. We get to see the beauty in everything. Even when we get challenged, we actually realize that, okay, I'm being challenged right now because life wants me to grow and expand in a certain area. And if you don't do these rituals, if you don't know how to plug in, then life can just keep knocking you down. And then you can become, one of these victims who just complains about life. And the truth is, they just haven't learned some of the things that I've been fortunate enough to learn. And I know what it's like to have depression. I know what it's like to have, mental health is such a big thing now. Yeah. And so many people, they might be seen on the outside to have the life of their dreams, but inside they're dealing with these mental health issues, or they might have health issues within their body, or they might have issues within their relationships. Yeah. And the truth is that when you plug people in, they just awaken.
Sorry for the interruption again. To find out more about this speaker, become a speaker on our show, have Dr. Carter present at your event or podcast, learn more about coaching, consulting, tissue allografts, exosomes, supplements, legal help, or how to create $1 million business card and dominate your area, we're here to help you. Just text your name and any question to 561-962-1231. Write that down. That's 561-962-1231. Or go to our website at drrosscarter.com to learn more. Don't forget about our current $475 Warden's Jelly special. On with the show. Story about the actor.
Oh, yes. So Tim, he was actually on Breakthrough Mastery at this event. I said to him, why do you keep coming back? He's now done the retreat 3 times and Breakthrough Mastery 3 times. I said, what do you do? He goes, because every time just plug me in to a higher level. And that's all anybody wants in this game of life, is to plug into their purpose, is to plug in to be the most powerful version of themselves. Right. But in a way where it's not harming anyone else, because a lot of people can get sucked in for the power struggle, where they get addicted to the power and they love, it's this cross between what's more important, the love of power or the power of love. And when we really plug into the essence of what we are, which is love, and it's love that glues this whole universe together. It's love that glues families together. It's love that glues tribes together. When we connect to that love essence of what we are, then there have been studies out there that have now shown that magnetically, when you're in your heart, you're 5,000 times stronger magnetically. Now, what does that mean? That you can then attract things in your life with so much more power. Now, what type of things do people want to attract in their life? They want to attract love. They want to attract abundance, money. They want to attract the career that they love. They want to attract adventures. They want to attract, great friends. They want to attract all these things because there are certain laws that govern this planet. One being gravity. You can never avoid gravity. But another one is law of attraction. And so many people get the misconception of what law of attraction really is. And it means that whatever you're holding within your field, and I say field because it's not within your mind, the field of what are you feeling right now and what's going on inside of you right now is communicating to the universe. Just like the conversation that you and I was having earlier, where people like us who are communicators, people like us who have taken on the responsibility of being in front of people, we have to take the complicated and make it simple. Yeah. We have to be able to communicate something where it makes sense to people. So this is my version of the universe, where everybody's heard of Google. Yeah. And if you go and type something in Google, whatever you type in Google, let's say you type pain in Google, guess what? You're going to get a whole bunch of files on pain. Right. Because you've typed it in the search engine. So let's say that you use the same search engine, but now you type in love. You're going to get a whole bunch of files on love. Right. Or let's say that you type in, creating a laptop lifestyle, for instance. Right. You're going to get a whole bunch of files on that. Now, within that, there are going to be some good files and bad files, but it's all going to be under the same umbrella. Now, whatever you're holding in your field is what you're projecting out there to the universe. And what will then happen is the universe is going to conspire to give you more of what you're holding in your field. So let's say that we go for a challenge and we get beaten up and we're like, oh God, why is this happening to me? You're going to see all the reasons why it's happening to you, and that's going to knock you down even further. Right. So whereas if you ask a question, you say, look, I don't like where I'm at right now. This feels really uncomfortable. I don't want to live here. Life, what are you trying to teach me right now? What will happen is you'll navigate your way out of that challenge super fast, because as soon as you've learned the lesson, boom, you pop out. Whereas if you don't learn the lesson, what will happen is the same thing is going to come round in a cycle, and it's going to happen again and again and again. And the lessons get harder and harder until you get it. And most people, they just haven't been given the tools to be able to wake up. And the reason being is you just have to look across the whole globe right now. The first 6 years that most humans have on this planet, it programs them in a way to take away the essence of who they are. It's crazy what's going on. And I'm not really into conspiracy theories and stuff. That's a whole nother, wormhole that we don't want to go down. All we want to do is have an understanding of the awareness, because the awareness is the first point of any change. And as soon as we become aware that, maybe I am disconnected from my truth, maybe I am disconnected from a part of me that is more powerful than what I've been playing this game of life with, how can I get plugged in? And all of a sudden, life will start to give you a trail. And if you learn how to follow the trail, you're always going to be on your path. But always on your path, challenges are still going to happen. Because why? We learn most when we're challenged. It's like, if you want to build a great body, I have to put a challenge, I have to put pressure. Say I want to build great biceps, I've got to put some pressure and stress on those biceps, and it's not going to be comfortable. But guess what? I now get more strength. I now have a strong bicep. I can now start to do, chin-ups, and I can do other things that I couldn't do before I start to put that pressure on myself. So we can put pressure on ourselves in a way where we can be balanced along the journey, and all of a sudden you will start to live with more strength. You'll start to live with more balance. You'll start to live with more flexibility. And when you've got these 3 attributes and you take that into your personal life and into your business life, the whole game of life changes.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's exciting. I like that analogy. And you were able to teach people. How did you really figure this out for yourself? Where was the awakening for yourself? I guess that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, there have been many. So the first one was like when I was told that I wasn't going to walk again and I was going to spend the rest of my life in a wheelchair when I broke my back.
How old were you when that happened?
17, 18.
Okay, so you were just starting life.
Yeah. And I'm 46 now, so that's like decades ago.
Yeah.
For me. And when I realized that, oh my God, my mind was killing me. Because let me just ask you this question, like real simple.
Yeah.
Can your mind make you ill? Yes or no?
Of course.
Yeah. Can your mind make you well? Yes or no?
Yes, it can.
So we know. So everybody knows this stuff. I ask, all the audiences I get to, speaking on a consistent basis.
Right.
When I ask them these simple questions, they know the answers. So the truth is, we all have the answers within us. And I learned mine by being majorly challenged. And when you're told you're never going to walk again, and then you go through an experience of having to learn how to walk again. Like I remember the first day that I stood up and just standing, I was like, you know what? I'm so grateful to be able to stand again because I didn't think I was going to be able to stand again. And I just looked up and I just said, look, whatever you are, God, the universe, source energy, whatever name you give it, can't ever describe it because it's the creation of everything. And I just said, look, you let me stand every single day and I'll be one of the most grateful people that have lived on this planet. And this is something that so many people miss is the gratitude for the simple things in life. Because we're always focused on the big thing. So many people, I want to have the great body. I want to have the great sports cars. I want to have the private jet. I want to have the helicopters. I want to have, houses all these places around the world. And there's nothing wrong with that stuff. But you've got to invest in yourself first. Because again, if you're sacrificing yourself at some level, and we see, I see this all across the world where people are focused on money. I'm sure you've heard this saying before. They're sacrificing their health in the pursuit of wealth. Yes. And the ones that then get lucky and they get their wealth, they then have to spend their wealth trying to get their health back.
Yeah, exactly.
Steve Jobs was a classic example of this. One of the absolute geniuses that introduced technology into the world in a way where, what he did with Apple changed the game. I don't know if you use PC or Apple, but if you use Apple,
I'm on a Mac
it's very intuitive. Yeah, so there you go. Very, very intuitive.
Yep.
And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but one of his drivers was, someone said to him, what's your mission? And he said, I want to put the spirit back into technology. And I just thought, that's awesome. So what I want to do is I want to put the spirit back into life. When we do that, we just live life with more of who we are. And you look at children, their energy is infectious. Their joy is infectious. They have this freedom that is infectious. To bring that back in the adult world, it plugs people back into their dreams. It plugs people back into a part of them that they've forgotten. And when we remember that, then instead of us trying to hop our way through life, we actually realize, oh my God, I'm actually going to walk my way through life because I've got two legs. But what we do is we start to spread our wings and then we start to glide through life. Even when you're gliding, there'll be winds that you've got to deal with. There'll be storms that you've got to go through, but you have everything to be able to deal with it. And there's nothing better than, being connected to other people that are in your team, or who in your tribe, whether it's your family or your business colleagues, that when you get through the challenges, it's like, we did that. We did that as a team. We did that as a unit, go team type thing. And everyone's boosted up. Everyone's morale gets lifted up. Everyone's confidence and self-esteem gets plugged into a higher level. And you start to realize that, yes, we've got to learn how to weather these storms as a team.
Yeah.
Because to go through this life alone can be really, really lonely. And this is one of the things that, again, you look at kids. You shove kids in a playground and they just buddy up with other kids.
Right.
And at my events, it's unbelievable. When people come in, you see people walking, and I'm at the back of the room, and, we have like hundreds of people come to these events.
Yeah.
And I see them, and you can literally read them. They're like, no, I don't want to go and sit next to that person because that person looks a bit weird, or they have this judgment mechanism going. And I mention it to them. And I say, look, this is not to put you down, but it's to make you aware of how you've been programmed. Because if we can be programmed in a way where we can not connect to the essence of what we are, then guess what? We can be controlled. And if we're controlled, then we are not living our life to the fullest. And to create a life of freedom is what I believe everyone truly deserves. So that's why I do what I do now.
When did you realize that you had this gift or this?
I think we all have it.
Well, when did you realize that you figured it out? I mean, when did you think, I figured out I have this gift and I think we all have it and I need to share that with everybody else? When was that a moment for you?
So with my broken back, I ended up going back to gymnastics, and we sat down with the family one day and Mum said, my God, we've just witnessed a miracle. You know, you was told that you was never going to walk again, that you was going to spend the rest of your life in a wheelchair, and you're free again now. You're running, you're jumping, you're climbing, you're doing everything that any human would ever want to do. What do you want to do now? And I asked myself the question that everybody has to ask themselves a question on a daily basis. Yeah. What do I love? I thought about it and I was like, what do I love? And at that point, there was only one thing that came up. And my mum looks at me and she goes, you better not be thinking what I think you're thinking. And because I've got to go back to gymnastics. Yeah. And she was like, why would you do that? I said, because that's what my gut is telling me. That's what my intuition is guiding me to go and do. Yeah. And I went back to gymnastics and I found myself this world-class coach. He was 2 times world champion. And we started training, and within 18 months, I'm then stood on the podium being given the gold medal for the English Sports Acrobatics Championships. And when I won that competition, it proved to me that we have way more in us than what we're playing. You know, what we're playing out into the game of life. And people started to interview me and they started to ask me all these questions, you know, how did you do it? You was told that you was never going to walk again, and now you're like English champion. How the hell did you do it? And, you know, over 20 odd years ago, over 25 years ago, I start talking about energies and frequencies and vibrations, and I'm going on a rant and I'm talking about all this stuff, and I start looking at people and they're just looking at me like, yeah, he's got a good story, but Skip, he's off with the fairies. And they didn't get it. So I stopped speaking about that stuff and I applied that level of discipline into the business world. And we got really lucky. I started to bring acrobatics to like some of the world's biggest shows. And this was before sort of Cirque du Soleil was known. And, you know, we were doing shows like at the Royal Albert Hall, at the Royal Opera House. If like pop stars and rock stars were putting 85,000, 100,000 people in a stadium, I was the guy to bring all the acrobatics. It was just in the right place at the right time. But I do believe that there's no accidents in life and that there are synchronicities and we create our own destiny. And it was only about 10 years or so ago, I got asked to go and do a talk. And I said, I don't do those anymore. And they went, no, come on, you've got a great story. And I said, look, I'm really happy in life. Last time I started to talk about this stuff, people just thought I was a weirdo. And I do not want to talk about this stuff. Right. And this person was just on me. And I said, look, I really don't want to do it. And it was like, Skip, you will serve these people. They need to know what you've done. By you not telling your story, you're not speaking your truth. And that line went straight in. And it went straight in my heart. And I was like, oh my God, we have to speak our truth. Maybe people are more evolved now. Maybe they are ready for it. And I went and it was just a small talk. It was only about, there's about 200 people at this event. And I did this talk and people just came up to me after and they were just like, wow, how can we learn what you did? And I just said, well, I don't really know. And bit by bit, I started to do more talks. Then I started to do workshops. Then I started to promote my own events. And before you knew it, the retreats were put together. Because when people have total immersion, what can happen in those 5 days? Some people don't get in a lifetime. And some people who are practicing it can take them decades to get this stuff. So I've just learned that through these processes, that by plugging people in, they've then got this stuff that they can use for the rest of their life. So yeah, the talk started about 10 years ago and the truth has come out now. And the results that people get from them are completely life changing. So yeah, that's how it all started.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. So what is the movie going to be about? What is the concept of the movie?
So the movie, it's really evolved. It was going to be the longevity version of The Secret. And we're still going to actually make that, but we're going to launch one other one before that. And what this movie is all about, it's about the stuff that I've mentioned. It's about plugging people into, well, first of all, without people realizing that they have the answers within them, that they have everything that they need within them to go and create this life of miracles, then what's the chances of them going out there living a life of miracles? Pretty slim.
Right.
Because their thoughts that they have come from unresourceful sources, soap operas, the news, the headlines, what's wrong with the world, all of these, the politics, the wars, the dramas, all of this stuff, and that becomes their reality.
Yeah.
So what we're going to show is that I've got these experts from around the world who we've interviewed, and they're sharing the same message, but from a different perspective. And they're all complete leaders in their fields of expertise. But what the movie has as well is I had a business partner that ripped me off $250,000, because how many people do you know stressed around money? Many people. And this isn't just people who don't have the money. This is people who have the money, but they're still stressing because the same mechanisms are going. So I went through an episode that when he just took the money and ran, and he started to hack me online, and he started to do some horrible things to the crew that was around and that we were working with, I had to realize that, right, there's some work that I had to do around this. So we show what I do to get through that fast. Then we show how I bounced back from falling down the waterfall. Then we show how, again, some things had happened and there were certain areas of my life where I wasn't speaking my truth. So going through all these challenges, it shows people, because if we just give people information, because I didn't want to do the movie, and it was Spirit that was saying, right, you're not going to make a movie. I was like, I don't want to make a movie. I've got clients of mine who are in the movie industry. I think it's one of the most corrupt industries I know, because you can rip a lot of money off from a lot of people, and very few people find harmony in the movie world. We just have to look at a lot of movie stars, and these are the ones that get it good.
Right.
But they're still off balance. Yeah. And then behind the scenes, what happens behind the scenes is there's a lot of stuff off balance, whereas the end product is awesome. But there's a lot of sacrifices that have had to be made in getting these things to the finish line. So I didn't want to be in that world. And Spirit was like, you're going to make a movie. You're going to make a movie. And I was like, I'm not going to make a movie. And as soon as I let down my resistance and I started to take the steps in making the movie, I thought to begin with, great, I'm making this movie now. I want to be a producer. It's going to be awesome. And then the challenges started. So there was the big money challenge.
Yeah.
There was the big physical challenge. There was some relationship challenges in there.
Yeah.
And there was me not speaking my truth on certain levels within it. And it shows how I've bounced back every single time. And what the idea is, hopefully that will open up the door to allow people to bounce back, because life is going to knock us down. You can't go through life being a human being without getting knocked down. But the challenge is, are you going to get back up? And if you get back up, are you going to get back up stronger, or are you going to get back holding on to the past, holding on to something that isn't serving you? So the idea is to get back up stronger and stronger and stronger every time, so that you become more through the challenges that you go through in life. Because you know this, and everyone who's listening to this or watching this will know the same, that you can be at that point where you think, oh my God, life is amazing. And then all of a sudden you get a phone call, and it might be a loved one has died, or a loved one is facing a challenge where they could be on their deathbed.
Right.
And it just knocks you sideways, or all of a sudden something else has happened. It could be something to do with your business. It could be something to do with your lover, or you not having a lover. All of these challenges can really just plague us and weigh us down, but we all have to face them. So it's, what do we do when life really hits us hard? And if we don't invest in ourselves, if we don't create these daily rituals, then those hits can really get hard and literally knock life out of us. Whereas what life truly wants is, through these challenges, is to put more life in us. And then we get to be someone who, you get to be pretty much unshakable. You get to be pretty much unbreakable. And yes, there will be ups and downs, but when you start to plug in, you'll have a lot more ups and a lot less downs. So that's the aim of the movie, is to at least show people that through real life situations And it is going to be like a Hollywood movie. You know, we're using CGI, we're using animation, we've got the hero's journey within it. And hopefully it's going to make people realize that they are the miracle. And all they've got to do is plug into the essence of who they truly are. And they can then go out there and live a life of miracles.
Beautiful. Lovely. I can't wait to see this movie. What is the movie called, or does it have a name?
It's called The Miracle.
The Miracle.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So when do you think this will be coming out?
We're just about to do the last round of funding. We've got this incredible team that I've just formed because I've used different teams around the world. Like we had a team out in Mexico, we had a team in Asia, and we're now getting who've been filming different parts and doing different parts. Now we're on the last leg to the finish line.
Yeah.
So we're literally just about to raise the last level of funding. And I think that will only take a few weeks because what we're offering people is kind of a no-brainer. And the aim is to have the movie completed within the next 3 months.
Yeah.
And then we've got a whole marketing campaign that we're going to roll out because we know how to run events. We're going to be doing our own movie premieres around the world, creating a lot of awareness around it online.
Yes.
We've got songs that have been produced on it. So there's actually going to be musical videos that are going to be produced and put out there because they're a lot of fun. Like the whole movie ends in a big celebration with everyone dancing. I know it sounds like namby-pamby, but the reason we do that is because there was a study done in the UK which showed the number one thing to slow down and reverse the aging process. And guess what it is?
Dancing.
Dancing with no inhibitions.
Yeah.
Not dancing where you're trying to look cool. Not dancing where you're trying to learn a certain dance move or something.
Well, I'm a white guy. I can't look cool when I dance regardless.
Dude, if you shake it with no inhibitions and you don't care and that spirit is flying out of you, believe me, it will be infectious.
That's
because
hilarious.
when you see, think about this. When you see a 4-year-old boy or a 4-year-old girl on that dance floor, say like it's a family birthday or a family wedding, and they're just shaking it and they've got no cool move, but they're free, what do people do when they see it? They smile.
Right.
Now, if you then see an older person, let's say they're past their 70s or 80s, and they're doing the same thing, what do you do? Smile. But where does anyone say, oh, well, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s or 50s or 60s, you can't do that? Then they're suppressing a part of who they are.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that we've got this track, and it's kind of like that Pharrell Williams song, that Happy track, and it's just infectious. And the idea is just to get up, and when you see those end credits, don't just watch it. Allow your spirit to be free. Dance like no one is watching you.
Exactly.
Then all of a sudden, we hope that's going to be the first step to people feeling good. So, yeah, we're looking forward to getting that out there.
That's beautiful. So if somebody was interested that's listening that wanted to be a part of this project, what could they do?
I suppose reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm Skip Archimedes on Facebook, Skip Archimedes on Instagram. Yeah, just, drop me a message and just say, look, I'm interested. Let me know more. And, I can send them a trailer. I can send them, some information on it. And then they can just decide, if the deal's right for them. I just say tune into it. If it feels right, go for it, because this is one of the things that Bruce Lee taught me. Don't think, feel. And why is this important? I just want to, kind of sort of finish off with this, because our instinct, if we make our decisions on instinct, you will always be guided through life in a way where you're going to be on your path. Because let's say that me and you are walking down the street, okay, and we're having a conversation. We're deep in conversation, and, we're looking at each other, we're in this conversation, and we haven't realized that this car is veered off the road. And all of a sudden, it could be taking us out. The second that car comes on our radar, we will jump out the way from instinct before we've even had a single thought. So We've got to tune into our gut feeling, our instinct, because when our instinct starts to work and it starts to help us make decisions, you're always going to make empowered decisions. So, this is what I say to anyone, if they're interested in investing in the movie, I show them, the stuff. And if they feel it and it's a good feeling, take action. And if it's not a good feeling, don't take action because it's not right for them. And that's it. There's none of these mind games. There's nothing, we're not hyping anything up. It's a very transparent deal, because that's one thing I really feel that we need more on planet Earth now is a lot more transparency, because when there's more transparency, guess what? We let go of the competition. We can all start to collaborate as humanity, and then we can all start to rise up together, and we start to celebrate each other's success, because there's no jealousy, there's no envious. There's realizing that we're just on this planet with brothers and sisters, and if we can all help each other, then we collaborate in ways that we used to collaborate when we lived in tribes, and we were closer then when we lived in tribes. And we've got, 7 billion people on the planet, and so many people feel alone because they're not collaborating anymore. And, when we start to get into those realms of really collaborating, then we can really make some amazing stuff happen on the planet.
I love it. I think that's awesome. And how do they find you online besides, do you have a website?
Yeah, they can go to skiparchimedes.com, and people want some free products and free gifts. They just go to skiparchimedes.com. That's SKIPARCHIMEDES.com. And they can connect with us through there as well.
That's beautiful. I love this call. This was very great. It raised my level of energy.
Awesome.
You projected yourself onto me. That made me feel really good.
A pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure and never a chore.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Please subscribe to be notified of all new episodes, and also like and share this to help us grow. To find out more about this speaker, become a speaker on our show, to have Dr. Carter present at your event or podcast, learn more about coaching, consulting, tissue allografts, exosomes, supplements, legal help, or how to create $1 million business card to dominate your local area, we're here to help you. Just text your name and your question to 561-962-1231. Write that down. That's 561-962-1231. Or you can go to our website at drrosscarter.com. That's DRROSSCARTER.com to learn more. Until next time, this is Dr. Ross Carter, signing off.